And we're going live, bang on 9 PM. Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon if you're in the States, just whilst people are joining. Let's play a little bit of Christmas music. Fanny, good evening. Fanny, check it out. Is this one of the best Christmas songs ever? Or is it one of the best Christmas songs ever? My miming is not very good. It's good, isn't it? Oh God, it's brilliant. She says, Kim's here. Good evening, Kim. Not seen you in ages. Jen's here. We're rocking out to a bit of Christmas music, Kim and Jen, while people join tonight's scope. It's all about achieving what matters in 2017. Nostalgia and happiness all at once, says Fanny. Good evening. And Fanny, thank you so much for the mention in that interview. I just literally read it 10 minutes before I came on the scope. Just chill out, pose for a minute. Yeah, Fanny did an interview recently. You go and read it if you're part of the Act on This Facebook group. Good evening, Miss Gypsy. Karen, good evening. Jen's here as well. Go to facebook.com/groups/Act on This TV, particularly if you're an actor. It's a group, a support group for actors, community that I created, but all these guys on this scope are part of. And yeah, Fanny posted a great interview that she did about being an actress. And you said really nice things about me, Fanny, so thank you. It's amazing that I've inspired you in whatever way. But all of you guys take credit for everything that I do, really, because I wouldn't have anyone to talk to if you didn't turn up. So thank you for showing up. You make it all possible. Whoever said that I missed the Christmas music, yes, you did. So here's some for you. Don't know the words. Just share. Thanks for sharing, Kim. Kim shared the Periscope. Just share it. So if you want some Christmas music, kids, get yourself on Ross's Periscope because he's playing Christmas music galore. More of a Winter's Tale girl myself, said Fanny. Oh, all right. I've been playing. What else have I had on tonight? Let's see what else we've got. Again, we will get down to a bit of work in a minute. But while it's Christmas, let's just play Christmas. This is quite good. This guy called Gavin James. He's not well known at all. But he's done a Christmas album. It's a bit chilled out though. Listen to this. See what you think about this. Gina Timberlake's here. Gina, what do you think about this? It's a chilled out Christmas song. Some people may see it sad though. Whatever you make it. Here we go. May your heart be light. You reckon? Next year, it's for after the day is done. Good or what? It's pretty good, isn't it? That's Gavin James. I've never heard of him, but he's pretty good. I think that's when you get in like drunk on Christmas Eve and you're like, actually, I'm just going to sit here in front of the Christmas tree for a minute and I'm just going to drink whiskey before bed. Not that I ever do that. Chilled and open fire, says Gina. Yeah, I love an open fire. A Gaelic coffee in front of an open fire, because I don't really drink hard liquor these days. Gida's here. Good evening, Gida. Good to see you. So anyway, guys, right, welcome to this Periscope. For those of you who are like, who's this guy? Is he just some Christmas music man or something? No, I'm not. My name is Ross. I'm an actor and a voiceover artist from Manchester in the UK. A lot of the people joining this scope are actors, but if you're not an actor, don't worry about it. Don't go anywhere. This still applies to you. I do a scope on a Monday night where we look at something called, well, it's titled Motivation and Mind Hack. So it helps you with your motivation, helps you hack your mind to get further in your life faster, productivity, all kinds of things. You pronounced that wrong, Ross. What did I pronounce wrong, Kim? I don't know what you're talking about. Let me know, though. And, oh, Gida, is that what you're talking about? I keep forgetting how to say your name, Gida. Let me know if I have got it wrong. Yeah, and I scope on a Wednesday night where we do a book club, okay, guys? And these are all kind of personal development, personal change, motivation, productivity, emotional mastery, positive psychology, effectively. Tips and tricks to help you, achieve more in your life. And up until, from now until Christmas, Gaelic coffee I pronounced wrong. I thought you meant Gida's name. My name is right. There you go. Good. Yes. And yeah, until Christmas, we're going to be looking at goal setting, guys. Goal setting is just like such a big part of my life now. It never used to be. I started goal setting strategically, properly, 3 years ago, and I was mentored by one of the greatest kind kind of productivity coaches in the world, a guy called Michael Hyatt. And he released an ebook that I was telling everybody to go and download, go and download it, go and download it. It's only available until tomorrow night. And if you want to get it, it's basically 8 strategies that the world's highest achievers use to set themselves up for their best year ever. So it's 8 strategies. We looked at 4 last week. We're looking at the other 4 tonight. But if you want to get it, and I would stress to everybody, just go and get it. Okay, you go to act.network/achieve book. Okay, act.network/achieve book. Just pop your name and email address in, and Michael will literally send it to you instantly, and you can download it for free, completely free. Had an email from Jason Broderick about you, says Fanny. Oh right, nice. Yeah, I know Jason. He's a good guy. Generally promotes everything that I do. Big shout out to Jason. He kind of coaches people, actors on the business side of acting, which is pretty cool. I kind of do the personal development side of actors as well. So yeah, he's a bit of a business coach, I guess, for actors. So he's more into coaching actors on what to write in their letters to casting directors and giving you contact information for all the right people and that kind of stuff. So check his stuff out. It might be useful to you. But yeah, go and get that ebook, guys. And because I thought people were going to get the ebook and then just leave it on their hard drive, I was like, I'm going to read it to you, effectively. All right. So we looked at the first 4 strategies last week, and what Michael's done in this book, guys, he's asked literally 20 of the world's greatest achievers, so high achievers in the world of personal development and business, authors, just kind of thought leaders, effectively, in the world. These are the 20 of the biggest on the planet. People like Tony Robbins, you will have heard of. Maybe you've heard of John Maxwell, Lewis Howes. Really, really big people in the personal development world. And he's effectively asked them what they do at the end of the year in order to have their best year the year after. To recap on the points from last week, just if you missed last week, okay, number 1 was reflect on the past year. Massively important to reflect on the previous year before you move into the new year. A lot of people, if they've not had a great year, just want to forget the previous year. Not always useful, because there will be a lot of positives in the year if you look for them. A lot of people go, oh, good riddance. How many people have said that at the end of the year on Facebook or something like that? Thank God 2014 is out the way. Oh God, I just really want 2015 or 2016 or whatever it is. And they can only see the bad from the year. Never, says Fanny. They can only see, the negatives that have happened in that year. Because point number 2 of these strategies was stay positive. Okay, so and that's to look at the positives that have happened that year. There will obviously be negatives in every year, but they're not failures, they're just outcomes. Okay, so you never have a failure, effectively. You can have a positive or a negative outcome, but you can learn so much from that negative outcome that it becomes a lesson. And if you are learning, you are succeeding in life, guys. Okay, so that's point number 2. Point number 3 was to express gratitude. Gary's here. Good evening, Gary, who, after probably the 150th time I've mentioned it on a Periscope, has started consciously expressing gratitude, guys. Writing down things you are grateful for on a daily basis, or keeping a gratitude journal, or when you're walking, literally, just thinking how grateful you are for the things you have got in your life. Remember when I said on last week's Periscope, on the book club, I said you get to do everything in your life. You don't have to do everything in your life. You get to do it. Daily, says Karen. Nice one, Karen. Karen, it was amazing to see you on the Bulletproof Actor live call on Thursday as well. Such a good laugh as always. Fanny says, yes. I find it incredibly easy to forget. It's hard. Me makes me happy, says Tracy. Yeah, Tracy, you're good at this. I see you doing this on Facebook quite a lot as well, like publicly, which is nice. Ever since we started the Scopes over a year ago, says Kim. Good on you, Kim. Been doing that for ages, says Gary. Great book called Simple Abundance. Not heard of it, Gary, but maybe it's one for the book club. Put it in the Facebook group. That would be cool. It is powerful, guys, and it's powerful really for one main reason that I spout on about all the time, but that's because negative emotion and gratitude can't coexist in your mind at the same time. Okay, so you can have 10 seconds of gratitude and then you can allow all that negative emotion back in after that. But even for those 10 seconds, whilst you're thinking, oh, I'm so grateful to be warm tonight when it's so cold outside. I quite like this time of year, particularly if like the rain is lashing on the window and I'm kind of just snuggled up in bed with the covers over my head, nice and warm. And we forget just what a massive deal that is. It was so cold on Saturday a couple of days ago. I was like, you know what? Anyone who's homeless today, is really going to be struggling. You know, they don't stand a chance, bless them. So always something to be massively grateful for. I always think of the homeless when it's cold. Well, what you can do, Fanny, what's really cool is anyone can help me with this as well. Once a year, I'm really big on homeless charities as well. So once a year at Christmas, I get behind a charity called Crisis, and you can go to crisis.org and you can learn about what they do. And they take people off the streets. They're a homeless charity throughout the rest of the year, but on Christmas particularly, they take people off the streets for Christmas Day, and they give them a Christmas dinner, they cut their hair, they give them dental treatment, housing advice, job advice, all this kind of stuff. And through Acts on This, and for anyone who's got a premium membership at Acts on This, regardless of what you pay for it, if you got in really early, I saw today some people who got in like 5 years ago on a Black Friday deal that I no longer do. I no longer do Black Friday because I feel it gives people an excuse to procrastinate and not sign up to stuff because they go, oh, I'll wait till it's cheaper. But I saw people getting in 5 years ago for 20 quid a year for Acts on This, and they're still only paying 20 quid a year, and now it's 120 quid a year. If you pay the £10 a month. So congratulations to the people who are still getting it for like £2 a month. But yeah, the premium memberships and Acts on This don't go in my pocket, guys. I'm not like a greedy fat cat. They go to charities throughout the year, and also at Christmas I aim to take a minimum of 10 people off the streets through Crisis, through the premium membership revenue from Acts on This. So if you want to do some good and you've got a spare, I think it's like a spare £22 or something like that, which I know is a lot of money, but if you've got a spare 20 quid, you too can take one person off the street for Christmas Day. I always think it's really nice to know, whilst you're having your Christmas dinner, that someone else is having one because of you, which is cool, isn't it? Fanny says, that's amazing, Ross, I really admire that. It's like, I feel it's a duty, Fanny. Like, seriously, it's, I say it quite a lot, you know, living is giving, but I feel until you've done something for somebody else that you know they can never possibly pay you back, you haven't really lived, and it makes me feel great to be able to do that and to know that something I've created from scratch has this impact and this ripple effect on other people. Fanny says it's our duty to help those lesser. It is, it really, really is, and trust me, when you do that, like, it will light up your life way more than that, you know, few hundred quid in your pocket or whatever that you can go and spend on material shit. You know, when you go, you know what, I've affected somebody's life at the very core at Christmas. And Christmas, we all know, Christmas, guys, can either be phenomenal, or it can be a really nostalgic, quite sad time for people. But ultimately as well, what I've noticed as well, Jen says, I rarely spend Christmas at home. I'm usually in one soup kitchen or other. Amazing, Jen. I've never done that. Would love to do that at some point, though, for sure. I was speaking to a few people today, guys, just while we're talking about Christmas before we go into this, is a lot of people every year tell me that they'd be able to enjoy Christmas if such and such a thing wasn't going on in their life. And it's like, oh, if only this wasn't happening, I'd be able to enjoy Christmas. Or if only that wasn't happening, I'd be able to enjoy Christmas. And they find something every year that consciously stops them from actually fully letting themselves go and enjoying Christmas. And they want it over, because then they can get on with stuff and they don't have to focus on anything that's, you know, negative in their life at that very special time. And I just want to say to everybody that there will never, ever, ever be a year where you don't have that one thing in your life that you wish you didn't have that would make Christmas a bit better. So what you're doing is by saying, oh, you know, if only this wasn't here, I'd be able to enjoy Christmas or whatever, is you're consciously stopping yourself from enjoying what can be one of the nicest times of the year. Because you will never have a year where you don't have something in your life that's doing your head in. I've decided that I'm not really doing presents this year, but donating to different charities, says Kim. Brilliant, brilliant. I don't do Christmas, says Miss Gypsy. As in what, Miss Gypsy? You don't like it, or it doesn't conjure up nice memories for you, or you just don't buy into it? Let us know. But yeah, if there's something you're focusing on that you're like, oh, if only this wasn't happening, I'd be able to enjoy it. Focus on everything else that's right in your life, and don't focus on that one thing that can rob you of that enjoyment. One thing that can rob you of enjoyment, like we say, is not planning for the next year, guys. So let's have a look at these next 4 points in Michael's book. Happily volunteering, says Miss Jessie. So yes, so you volunteer, amazing, brilliant. It's something I've never done, but like I say, it's definitely on the list to do that. And number 4 as well, as a recap, was to eliminate the excess. And sometimes that's looking back over the year and figuring out what didn't work, but also figuring out some things that worked but maybe not as well as you wanted to. And sometimes, as Jeff Goyne says, you know, you've got to Derek Halpin said, actually, he's featured in this book, he said you've got to kill your darlings. Not literally, not your kids, anything like that. But sometimes projects that you're actually like, you know what, that did work, but it's not adding to my life what I thought it would, or it's not generating as much revenue as I thought it would, and maybe if I focus more on this area in my life, I would get better results. Sometimes it means you've got to let go of the things that are working but not working as well as you would like in order to have success in the areas that are working as well as you would like, or even better. And I gave some examples last week of where I have culled so many features on actonthis.tv, a website that I run, that have cost me thousands of pounds to create in the past. I was emotionally attached to them and also financially attached to them because they'd cost me a lot of money to make, but they weren't working. And I've had to gradually kill those over the last couple of years and get rid of them in order to streamline the website and make it, you know, more accessible and ultimately, you know, more successful. So sometimes you've got to kill your darlings. So to get on points 5, 6, 7, and 8, the first point, tip 5, is to set compelling goals. Okay, this whole thing really ultimately is about setting you up in order to be able to set goals for the following year. And I wrote an article actually last night that's going out online in a few days. I wrote it for a company called Casting Networks UK. They're going to publish it, but I'm also going to turn it into an ebook and just give it to you guys for free as well, on how you set goals properly. And you might have heard of an acronym called SMART, which stands for Specific, Measurable, Actionable, Realistic and Time-Bound Goals. You might have heard of SMARTER, where people add on exciting and relevant. I use, because I think actors are going to relate to it, an acronym of ACTION with 2 A's. And in this book it tells you, that I'm going to give you guys for free, it tells you what each of those letters stands for, so that you can plan your goals and make sure they fulfill the ACTION acronym, which is very similar to the things within the SMARTER acronym. It's just more applicable to actors, I think, of how you can set compelling goals. So to read you this, it says, Michael says, this one came out in several of the answers in different ways. So when he asked these 20 people about how they set themselves up for a great year, they all said, you know, compelling goals in one way or another. It's not so much about working smart as working hard. Yeah, that's what I say, Fanny. So yeah, smart goals are just a way to set goals. It doesn't mean you've got to work, as in like, people term work smart, not harder. And I don't like that, because I know there's no substitution for hard work. Sometimes people will sell you things to say this is the smart way to do it. Just buy this piece of software and this is the smart way to do it and you don't have to do anything. That's different to working in a smart way. I think people get the word smart mixed up. Almost substitute the word smart for doing less. You know, it's almost like don't work hard, just doss about. That's not working smart. Okay, so people get the word smart. They use it wrong. These people who tell you to work smart and not hard have stolen the word smart and made it sound, you know, give it a different meaning. You can be smart, but you've got to work hard, full stop. But SMART is just an acronym. The fact that it spells out smart doesn't mean the same thing as what those people are trying to sell you, to work smarter. So yeah, he said this answer came out in different ways, but the bottom line is that high achievers set goals that harness their emotional energy. I set myself up to win by setting a clear vision for what I want to accomplish this coming year and why I want to accomplish it, says Lewis Howes. Okay, the power is in the word why. And there's still a lot of people I know who don't know why they want the thing they are going for. They don't know on a compelling, deep level why they do the things that they do. So I'd ask all you guys, you know, to really think about that. Why is it important for you to have success? And when you give yourself that first answer, ask yourself again, why is it important for you to have that first answer? Then why is it important for the second, third, fourth? It's not really until we hit 7 levels deep, 8, 9, 10 levels deep, that we really find the real truth behind why we do what we do and why it's really important to be successful. And it can be for lots of reasons that sometimes might seem quite selfish, but ultimately you're doing everything for yourself to a certain degree. The reason that I help out all these charities might seem selfless, but for me, it seems super selfish, because it makes me feel so good to be able to do this. So yeah, it is selfless, but it's not me going, I'm a saint, I'm Mother Teresa. No, to see what I do have positive impacts on other human beings makes me feel amazing. So it's very selfish. It's like oxygen. It's like a drug. I go, yes, smashed it again. Look at what I've done. So sometimes the reasons you do things can be selfish, and that's all right. Okay, that's okay, but it's only until you ask yourself, like, why, many times, will you get to those really deep, compelling answers that will push you through the really difficult times in your life. Because you'll want to give yourself a really intellectual answer initially about why you do what you do. Let's go, Fanny, why is it important for you to be an actress? Oh, well, I want to tell stories. Well, that's bullshit. That's not why you want to be an actress. Real selflessness, there's a philosophical pondering, says Fanny. It is like selflessness. I don't know if it exists. I don't know if it exists because we all do things for, to fulfill various needs within our lives. Whether it is, being selfless makes us feel good. We are doing it because it makes us feel good. If it made us feel dreadful, we wouldn't do it, because we are naturally wired to run away from pain and move towards pleasure. So if being selfless moves you towards pleasure, that's why you're doing it. So yeah, find your why. Ultimately, when you know your why, you know your way in life. Tony Robbins, his review process is designed to access this emotional power in his why as well. He says it's really a recapturing of the year emotionally and psychologically. It's about identifying what we achieved and what we enjoyed, and then laying out what we're going to achieve and enjoy in the next year. So Michael says, notice the importance of enjoyment there. So he looks for all that enjoyment in why he's doing what he's doing and when he's setting his goals. Dave Ramsey, another high performer, he says, I have to intentionally stop and dream again. What can I work on next year that makes me smile? Then my mind automatically moves from the strategic to the tactical. In detail, how can I organize my work and my life to do the things that cause the same smile? So sometimes you might have stopped dreaming. Who's stopped dreaming this year? Who's had life like punch them in the face a few times, so they've just stopped dreaming and they've started, just on some kind of like automated pathway somewhere, not really thinking about why they're doing what they're doing, or if what they're doing is what they want to do. Fanny says she's a prolific dreamer, but Jen says and then some. So Jen looks like maybe she's stopped dreaming a bit. So yeah, it's a brilliant time of the year right now to stop and dream again. Because are you getting excited about 2017? I am. I'm getting really pumped up for it. Sometimes people reset themselves on their birthdays and like, okay, now my birthday, that year's gone. My 34th year is going to be great or whatever. For me, New Year's always that biggest time though to go, right, okay, what have we done? What are we going to do next year? So yeah, so there you go. So Dave says, yeah, how can I organise my work and my life to do the things that cause that same smile? So start dreaming a bit of things that make you smile. My brain is more excited about the new year than my heart is. Well, get out your brain and into your heart. Tell your heart to start pumping a bit faster, Fanny. Because that's something to be grateful for. Be grateful for this, not my heart, your heart. It beats 100,000 times a day without you having to even think about it, and it keeps you alive. Blows my mind when I think about that. As soon as this bad boy stops beating, these periscopes stop. Crazy, innit? Totally bring it on, says Karen. 2017, yes. So that's point number 5, guys, is set compelling goals, and we're going to look at exactly how to do that from next Monday's Periscope. And I'm going to give you that ebook as well, so that you can get that action acronym and look at how you do it. We're going to look at something called push goals, which is one goal out of the 10 I'm going to get you guys to set, which is going to act as a domino for the other 9. So you'll generally find when you're goal setting that you'll have 10 goals I make people set at the end of every year in different areas of their life with different deadlines. You'll have some in your relationships, some in your work, some in your physicality, some in your health, all kinds of different areas. And then one of those goals will be a push goal that will make all the other 9 easier to achieve. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to look at breaking them down into actionable steps, and we're going to look at tracking them and apps you can use to track them. And so start getting excited about that. Point number 6, guys, is break it down. Ultimately, so here you go. So this is what I was saying about actionable steps. The 6th thing high achievers do is take those compelling goals and chunk them down into manageable pieces. Who's ever wanted to set themselves a goal but realised that actually, that's going to require many steps, or just felt that it was too big a task, thus procrastinated and never got round to even trying to achieve it? Because actually that's too big, and that's probably because you didn't break it down into smaller chunks. So Let's have a look. What Lisa Turkhurst, don't know who that is actually, I don't know her work, but she breaks her goals down into 3 categories. Fanny says always takes baby steps. 3 categories. So she does family. Oh, she does giving. Family. Miss Gypsy just had a breakthrough in her health. You can tell us about that in a minute, Karen. Giving, family, and personal development. I especially like her personal development category. Michael says this is a great year to become an expert on something. She said about this one, by pre-deciding what that something is, I can become a strategic student and an eventual expert. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. You know, one of my goals, what can I become an expert on this year? And it can be something completely nothing to do, unrelated to your acting career, if that's what you want to do. Maybe you want to just get better at cooking, baking, fitness. You want to, I don't know, jewelry making, whatever it is. You're like, actually, there's one thing that I want to become an expert on right now that I'm a complete novice on. That's pretty cool. Doesn't being an expert take years though? No, not at all. So Fanny, one thing everyone on here needs to realise, to be an expert in anything, you just need to be one step ahead of the person you are teaching. It's as simple as that. So if I want to learn something new about marketing online or, you know, anything, music, you know, I can't play the piano but would love to play the piano. Somebody who can knock out chopsticks on the piano is an expert compared to me, because I can learn from them. So don't ever talk yourself out of saying I'm not an expert on whatever. Expert doesn't mean you know everything. It just means that you have enough knowledge to teach somebody who is less experienced than you. But you also said to be around people who are 5 to 20 years ahead of you. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so you're going to be, so you've got to be learning. So funny, yeah? You've got to be learning from those people 5 to 25 years ahead of you as your mentors. But then you've got to find people 5 to 25 years behind you to give that stuff back to. So it's simple. You will be an expert right now to some who are brand new to the acting industry and haven't got a clue how anything works at all. There will be information inside your head that you would have paid money for a year ago to have known back then that you now know. Thus, you are an expert to those people in your position last year. I'm determined to nail accents as one of my main goals, says Jen. Yeah, pick an accent. I'm going to smash out my RP accent or my Scottish accent or my American accent. Miss Gypsy can teach us all the American accent. So can Tony Rossi, all of our friends in the States who join these scopes. So being an expert is all relative. Yes, you've got it. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's all relative. Seriously. Otherwise, no one would be an expert in anything. You don't. So what with your belief system right now on what an expert is, there's only probably like a dozen experts in the world. They'll all be the number one in their field. You know, and that's not the case. There's millions of experts out there. And you will be an expert in some areas of life that you can teach to those people who are a few steps behind you. You know, they don't have to be 5 years behind you or 25 years behind you, even 5 days behind you. You will still be an expert compared to them. Chris Ducker says he starts with a few big goals for the year, usually no more than 3, he does. I always do 10. He then writes them down and displays them in his office, but he doesn't stop there. He says, I break them down into 4 quarterly goals. Okay. So that would then give him 7, which are good-sized wins on their own, and then break those up into monthly goals. Those are the 12. So ultimately, yeah, he ends up doing 19. This enables me to stay focused on the long-term goals while at the same time enjoying being in the moment of achieving my short-term monthly goals. It's a system that has worked for me for 6 years now, he says. So that's a way to chunk things down as well. And then Casey Graham says he puts a lot of focus into his quarterly goals. I feel like I'm able to accomplish more when they're shorter term. I have a list of long-term accomplishments that the quarterly goals are helping me achieve. So yeah, ultimately I end up with 10 goals, and amongst those 10 will be some goals that are going to be within the next month, within the next 3 months, within the next 6 months, and within the next 12 months. And then I break those down into actionable steps. You don't want them all being 1 year goals with a deadline of December next year, otherwise you'll procrastinate, and then in December next year you'll have like a million things to do and you'll never get them all done. So make sure you're setting goals with deadlines at various points in the year, or you're breaking your big goals down into smaller goals with deadlines at various points in the year. Pat Flynn says seeing the mission in miniature makes it manageable. Every day is an opportunity to move forward. Awesome guy, Pat Flynn. If you want to get into a bit of online business stuff, Pat Flynn does a blog called Smart Passive Income. Great guy as a mentor in business, very, very good. And then Chris Brogan says, put it this way, my great years are built on keeping a bigger mission in front of me, but looking at my daily actions as the molecules of that mission. Your day is your week, is your month, is your year. Best years come from best efforts performed daily. You are what you consistently do, guys, aren't you? So yeah, your day is your week, is your month, is your year. Ultimately, what you do today will impact your week, your month, and your year as well. Point number 7 is schedule the year. Okay, so it's a little bit different to just goal setting. You've got to schedule your year out. Once they've set their goals and broken them into manageable pieces, the 7th thing high achievers do is schedule them. What gets scheduled gets done. I often say, beyond that, scheduling also protects your time. Here's the reality, everyone has an agenda. If you don't declare yours by calendaring what's important to you, others will try and fit you into their agenda. That's really important. And that's about saying yes to yourself a lot as about saying yes to everybody else. I used to be so like that, where I would just say no to myself, yes to everybody else, because I'd be like, you know what, I've kind of got a lot of my stuff together, I know what I'm doing, so I'll put this stuff here because I know I can work on that later, and I'll just go and help someone put a fire out in their life because they've left what was important once to the point where it becomes urgent. And that's something people need to do. You need to do more if you feel that that's you. Maybe you get things in your life and you do know what you've got to do, but because you don't schedule it into your year, the things that are at one point just important and you know you should be doing them creep up on you, deadlines creep up on you, and then suddenly they become urgent, which brings a shitload of stress with it. And if you'd have done those things when they were important by scheduling them in, they wouldn't have got to the urgent stage. Learning this lesson now, says Karen. I've learned that lesson though, Karen, the hard way a couple of years ago, without a doubt. And it's because I wasn't scheduling anything. Nowadays, the beauty of having a smartphone or a laptop and technology enables us to schedule stuff and keep track on it on all of our devices. So everywhere I go, I use this app called Workflowy. And everywhere I go, I've got it on my laptop here, my Mac here, I've got it on my phone here. And it's just a listing device. So there's my list. I can't see it, can you? For what I've got to do today. There you go, you can see bits of it there. Workflowy.com. Work and then Flowy. It's a free app, but it syncs to your desktop, to your phone, everywhere. And it's a great to-do list app. And you can just put all your notes in there, what you've got to do. And then if I delete something on my phone to say I've done it, it syncs and deletes it on my Mac, deletes it on my desktop, my iPad. It's a great way to schedule stuff in. Marie Folio says, I block out calendar time for my most important outcomes. And her most important outcomes are vacations, fun and time off, as well as major business and creative projects. You must also schedule free time in, guys, as well. Super important, okay? Those stakes in the ground ensure what's most important happens. Because if you don't schedule your holidays or some time off to disconnect, the temptation is to go, oh, forget about that. I was going to have next week off, but I can't now. And then you'll burn yourself out. Sometimes it's really important to actually just disconnect, even a day a week. Highlighters in different colours. Miss Gypsy loves the highlighters. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever works for you as a system is really great. Amy Porterfield explains her process in depth. She says, I buy a big dry erase wall calendar. So there's big whiteboard calendars. And she maps out her entire year. I include promotions, launches, and special content campaigns. She's a marketer, an online marketer. Plus, I make a point to block out all vacation and days off. I love those, says Fanny. I've never had one. Maybe we should get one of them. Buyinagroup.com, get them cheap or something. Amy continues, there's usually a lot of writing and erasing to get it right. Seeing the big picture in advance allows me to work with more purpose throughout the year. I think that's important. And then Stu McLaren, another great business mentor, I've spoken to a few times actually, she's a really great guy. He says this planning stage is where he gets very tactical and practical. I begin working backwards from the end goal and outline what that means on a quarterly basis, monthly basis, and weekly basis.
Of course, going into that kind of detail can be overwhelming, and to combat that feeling, Stu said he uses a trick from Gary Keller, and he then answers the question, what's the one thing I can do that by doing it makes everything else easier or unnecessary? That's from that one, the book, the One Thing. I found the answer to this question brings tremendous clarity. It simplifies my next steps. I ask myself that question on like a daily basis sometimes, and some people were asking about that. I don't know if it's in the Facebook group, I don't know if I replied to this, but people were saying, okay, well, I don't feel like I'm doing the one thing that's the most, the highest point of contribution to my goal. What if I'm like really tired? And I'm like, well, the one thing for you when you're really tired is to sleep. If going for a 20-minute nap, or even just calling it a day for that day and sleeping and getting up early the next day is going to be the one thing that's going to make everything else easier or unnecessary, do that. That's important. If you're really hungry, you're like, I can't concentrate because I've not eaten for 6 hours, the one thing you could be doing that makes everything else easier or unnecessary is going and making yourself some food and disconnecting for half an hour. So you can ask yourself that question for the massive things in your life and also the really small things in your life as well, and it will have a tremendous impact on both of those scenarios. What's the one thing I could be doing right now that would make everything else unnecessary, easy or unnecessary, easier or unnecessary? So that was point number 7, wasn't it? Yeah, schedule the year. So point number 5 was to set your compelling goals. Point number 6 was to break them down into smaller, actionable steps. Point number 7 was to schedule them into your year then, so you know when you're doing what and what you're aiming for when. And then the last point, number 8, is unplug for a time, okay? I found it interesting, says Michael, that both Marie Folio and Amy Porterfield, 2 amazing women, mentioned scheduling their vacations as part of planning for their year. They are both intentional about taking time away to refresh and recharge. Several years ago, I started taking a month-long sabbatical, said Michael. To make it work, I have to plan it a year in advance, but it's a crucial part of having a great year for me. I heard this from other high achievers, especially as part of preparing for the year. The single most important thing I do to set myself up for the best year ever is to take the last 2 weeks of December off, said Andy Stanley. That's what I do. Completely agree. The single thing that I do is to I really wind down by like the 21st of December. I'm like, guys, I'm practically out, and you won't see me a lot in the Facebook group or on actonthis.tv posting anything new. And I use that time then over Christmas, spend time with family, unwind, relax, catch up with people, and ultimately between the 26th and the 31st, set my goals for the following year, so that on January the 2nd, I have New Year's Day off or whatever, I can be like, right, I'm excited, I'm ready for the year, and I'm like, what's my first actionable step on this first goal, because I've already planned it. So if you've done all of the guesswork, you've taken all of the thinking out of it in advance, and you're like, right, I've got all my stuff together here. What is the first thing that that I've got to do? So take some time out over the next 4 weeks to do that, guys. You must do that. It says, Shalene Johnson says, there are some important side effects in setting time aside as well. Unplugging makes room for others in ways that we can't always plan. Shalene told me that taking off the month of December, her kids' sports schedule won't permit any travel. But the decision made room for something out of the blue. So she takes off December. The kids obviously are active in sport. Don't allow her to travel very much. We take time off in December in order to do that. So unwind, take some time out. And then the final thing says best practices. There's a lot goes into having your best year ever, and some things are different for us all. After all, we all have different talents, aspirations and circumstances, but these insights and disciplines from high achievers show us 8 of the best practices we can all follow to accomplish the things that matter most in each of our lives this coming year. So from 1 to 8, we have got, guys, reflect on the past year. What went right for you, what went wrong for you, but don't focus on the negative, because point number 2 is to stay positive. Point number 3 is to express gratitude for everything that went right that year and everything that you learned that year, everything you've got in your life right now. Point number 4, eliminate the excess, even if it means killing some of the things off that worked but didn't work as well as you would have hoped. Point number 5, set your compelling goals once you've done all that reflection. When you're setting your goals as well, guys, get inspired. I always tell people, before you write down and set your goals, if you're going to set a day aside to set all your goals for the next year, Don't just get up and start setting goals. Get up, get active, get out, walk amongst nature, play some pumping tunes, your favourite music in your ears. Visualise what could happen the next year that would make it an amazing year, and then start setting your goals when you get back. At least spend 20 minutes getting inspired before you do this. You're going to have a much clearer insight. 6, we break it down, so we break our goals down. Point number 7, we then schedule them into the year. And point number 8, we unplug for a time, either to get everything clear and straight, or to refresh and recharge before we start attacking those goals in the following year. So if you want to get this ebook and read it all, like I say, go to act.network/achievebook. And then also, guys, once you've got that, I'm going to send you, I'm going to put it in the Facebook group, and anyone on my email list, I'll send this to as well. Michael's going to release a life score piece of software for free on the 30th. So that's like 2 days. Is it the 28th today? He's going to release that, on Wednesday. And you can basically get that for free online, and it asks you questions that you give 1 of 3 answers to. And it basically assesses different areas of your life and then gives you a prescription effectively, and going, okay, well, in 2017, maybe you want to focus on this, 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 and this. And it's going to help clarify what you should be aiming for before you start setting your goals. So I'm going to send you that on Wednesday as well. And then I think he's got a webinar that I want to attend on goal setting as well the following week. So Fanny says, oh my God, I want that. Well, you're going to get it for free, Fanny. I'm going to send it you. And then he does a webinar, I think, the following week, that even if it clashes with a Periscope or something like that, guys, I'm going to do instead, and I'll invite all you guys as well, so you can join it for free as well. And he's going to go through some kick-ass strategies for goal setting there as well. So we will join that together, but I'll keep you posted. Like I said, I did a course Michael produces every year called 5 Days to Your Best Year Ever. Did it in 2013. Transformed my life. That's why I've been so big on goal setting ever since. Hugely effective. A brilliant course I'd recommend to anybody to do. I think it's about $150 if you get in the early bird access to it, and then it goes up to $197, I think. But the cheapest you can get it, I think it's about $147. It probably works out about £100. But I would recommend it to anybody. But check out the life score thing that I'm going to send you next week. Not next week, on Wednesday. Like I say, if you want to get that ebook and read it all a bit more in depth on your own and just have it so you've got it to hand forever, go to act.network/achievebook. Put your name and email address in, and Michael will send it to you straight away. So that's kind of useful. It's really just getting you to think about your goals before we start looking at how to goal set in more depth. I'm going to take you through a proper process, guys, of what your goals, what criteria your goals should meet, and you will have to, when you set your goals, make sure that each goal you are setting fulfills, well, at least ticks the box for all AACTION, all 7 criteria that I'm going to share with you guys. And if you do, your goals will be compelling. They'll absolutely be achievable. They'll be time bound. They're going to be actionable. They're going to be inspiring. They're going to be very specific, and they're going to be goals you can hit. You can set your goals up in a way you can almost guarantee you're going to hit them if you fulfill these 7 criteria, because they're so specific. You can't ever set goals, and you should never set goals that start with a to be verb. This is really great, Ross, says Jen. Thank you. No problem, Jen. A lot of people, set goals that are to be, and that's like if you ever set a to be goal, you will fail. Your goals should start with an action verb. So a lot of people are like, okay, I want to be more consistent when contacting casting directors. It's like, well, what does that mean? It's bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. A much better goal would be to write to 4 new casting directors every week. That's actually, a to-do verb, to write. Or I want to be healthier. No bullshit. A better goal would be to run for 40 minutes 3 times per week. So you know exactly what you're doing. You can't, what's to be healthier? Oh, I want to earn more money next year. Bullshit. Again, here's a £5. There you go, you've done it. No, rubbish. Your goal would be to earn £5,000 more in 2017, or by the 31st of December 2017, I will earn £5,000 extra. or whatever it is. And then obviously you then got to break that down to actionable steps. Okay, well, what could you be doing in your life to accrue more income? And we start bashing out the tiny little details within each thing so you can break that down. So that might be your big goal, to earn the $5,000, and then underneath that you go, well, actually, you know what? I could start teaching yoga. Okay, well, let's set that as a goal first of all, to set up a yoga class or whatever, and then break that down into actionable steps or whatever it is. You've got to be strategic when it comes to goal setting, otherwise you will not get anything done. And I'm going to show you exactly how you do that over the next 4 weeks. And then you can share all your goals with me at the end of December. And in the Facebook group, we can all then, because we know what each other's goals are, keep each other accountable. Some goals you'll want to share with people, some you won't. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, you don't want to share every goal, because I'll tell you why. Sometimes by sharing your goals, psychologically, it gives you such a boost that it's a very similar effect to actually having achieved your goals. It's the whole phenomenon that buying a gym membership does for you, that you never end up going and doing it, because just buying the gym membership makes you feel so good, you don't actually need to then go to the gym, because you've had your kick and your boost of serotonin and dopamine. Sometimes by going, Fanny, guess what? Jen, guess what? I'm going to do this next year, and I'm going to do this next year, and this. You go, oh my God, it's going to be so amazing. You get so excited, you never actually end up doing it. People spend the whole year telling other people what they're going to do and never actually taking action on it. So some of your goals you will want to keep to yourself. It's fine to share some to inspire other people as well, or if you've got similar goals to other people, and you're like, you know what, we both want to run 3 times a week for 40 minutes, so you know what, we're going to tell each other about that, and we're going to keep each other accountable. Or if we live near each other, we're going to run together. That can be useful, but you don't want to put everything out there, because sometimes you won't end up following through on it. So there we go, guys. But yeah, I'm excited, super pumped. Anyone got any questions before we wrap up? Got any questions quickly you might want to clarify on what we talked about, those 8 points? Anything to do with goal setting that you're thinking about, you're not quite sure on? Maybe I can try and answer quickly now, or I can answer on the following Periscopes as well. Just let us know, and then let you guys go and do a bit of thinking, a bit of reflecting on your year. And dreaming again. Start dreaming again. Jen, if you've stopped dreaming, let's start dreaming again. Think of the things that can happen in 2017 that would make you smile, whether that's in your career, your relationships, whatever. I couldn't get on Friday's Periscope. Oh, there was no Periscope on Friday, Miss Gypsy. Karen, we just do Monday and Wednesday. Friday, I release a podcast on iTunes. That's what happens on a Friday. So Periscopes are just Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 PM UK time. Fridays, if you want your Ross fix, go to iTunes, search for Act on This TV, all one word, and there's currently 25 episodes of a podcast that I do every Friday called 5 to Thrive. It's like a mini Periscope, effectively, but on iTunes, just audio. And I do one of those for free every single week, so you can go online and check that out. This week's 5 to Thrive podcast was all about the game, Karen, we played on the Bulletproof Actor live training, which was I don't have to, I get to. What a privilege it is. So for those who haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, it's where you take a chore or something you're not necessarily looking forward to, and you realise you don't have to do it. So it might be, oh, I've got to go to the gym. Well, no, you don't. It's nonsense. I don't have to go to the gym. I get to go to the gym. What a privilege it is to be able to invest in my health. Got the iPods. Excellent, Miss Chips. You can get it on there then. I was speaking about this last night with Tony, says Fanny. Yeah, super powerful. Super. It will change your relationship with the things you do in your life. You don't have to do anything. You just don't have to do anything. You get to do everything in your life, and there's so many people on this planet who would love to take on your have-tos, or things you are thinking of as your have-tos right now. Because you can just stay in bed all day if you want, do nothing. You know what, if you're in the UK, particularly the state will just end up supporting you, and and you'll live a very limited life, but you don't have to do anything really. You get to do it all. If you want to better your life and experience some great things whilst you are here, you've got to appreciate and be grateful for the fact that you get to do it all. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to spend this time with me. I'm very grateful you do, but you get to spend this time with me. Did that for years, says Gary. Yeah, it's really powerful, Gary. Definitely, it's really, really good. But we can sometimes get ourselves into oh god, the daily grind. Oh, I have to go to work, I have to do this, I have to go to the gym, I have to go shopping. Oh my god, there's so many people in Aleppo who would love to get to go to Sainsbury's or Tesco or Walmart or wherever you do your shopping and do a grocery shop. Such a privilege to be able to go and buy food. So many people go, oh, I have to go and do this. No, you don't. You don't have to do it at all. Get out of here. So cheers, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to be back on Wednesday for book club. We're looking at an awesome book called The Big Leap, recommended by Tony Rossi. Brand new book for December's book club. It's by an author called Gay Hendricks, New York Times best-selling author of a book called 5 Wishes. Never heard of it. But this is taking life to the next level, conquering your hidden fears. So it's an interesting one, and it's got relatively large text, which I like, because books with tiny text kind of put me off a bit. So yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. for that. Join us then. If you watch on the replay, appreciate you for being here, and we'll carry on with goal setting next Monday. But before then, like I said, I'll be sending everyone an email who's on my email list. An email with Michael Hyatt's Life Score program in it, so you can check that out. Thanks so much. It's Fanny. Pleasure, Fanny. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks again for the mention you gave me in that interview. Massively appreciate that. Thanks to everybody. Karen for joining us from America. Everyone for joining us from the UK or wherever you're from. Have an amazing time. Let's start getting excited about 2017. Cheers, hipster. Didn't notice you snuck on there, hipster. How are you doing, Si? Yeah, enjoy the rest of your days, your evenings, or whatever. Let's get excited about 2017, and we're all going to make it our best year ever, guys. So with that, I love you and leave you, and I'll catch up with you on Wednesday. Bye for now. Cheers, Gary. He says bye for now. Get everyone to say bye for now. Bye for now.